number 3, and we are in the beautiful Autodrome of Dubai. And with me, it's my friend and head and promoter of the series. It's Robert Lechner. Robert, it's time for qualifying now, and it's the third race weekend of that championship. Second year as a Porsche Carrera Cup. Can you give us a little idea about what the championship is all about?
Thank you, Eric, and welcome here to Dubai Autodrome. It's a bit windy. You cannot see so much with my hair, but obviously
that's
Eric,
no problem. That's an advantage.
Yeah, sometimes I also need to have an advantage, but it's good to be back here. It's round 3 of the championship, so we are going to have races number 5 and 6 of this season. It's always good to be back here. It's a different track after just coming from Qatar, which was an F1 event, coming here to host basically our own event together with Porsche Middle East and Africa, with local importers Al Nabuda. And once again, they've done a great job, a brilliant job, bringing so many friends, fans of the Porsche brand here to the racetrack. It's very inspiring, but it's also a big motivation for everyone in the background. They're just getting ready for qualifying, so I'm sure it's going to be exciting, and later on we are going to see the first night race we've ever done here at Dubai Autodrome. So yeah, full of action today, Saturday.
There has been a night race already at the beginning of the season in Bahrain together with the WEC. There the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East has been a support event, but now there's the main focus on this series here in Dubai, and we have 3 different classes. Can you give us also an idea about what's the reason behind that?
So it's our second season as a Porsche Carrera Cup, and obviously we're very proud to be one of 12 just worldwide within the Porsche One Make series. Kind of organigram or whatever. So definitely the Pro Championship, you just see like our championship leader Jannis Dierk, super talented young guy who already won races in the Porsche Carrera Cup in Germany.
We have him here in the back.
Yes, in the yellow DHL car, so he's our championship leader. So for example, being joined like the last couple of races as the first engines are firing up by James Wallace. We see Søren Sprang just leaving the pit line right now. So he's the Pro-Am champion in Germany. So basically this explains the Pro-Am championships, as it's getting really loud now. Pro-Am category for those guys, like they've already collected lots of experience in the National Carrera Cup, even done some races in Super Cup, have a very professional approach. And then last but not least, our Masters category, like really for drivers who don't have that much of an experience.
Yeah, these are the beautiful GT3 Cup cars. Definitely, and we have to go a little bit further down the pit lane because this is the young lady who is joining the championship, a fast girl from Bulgaria. How great is it to have also a lady joining the championship?
So you see, this is all live. It's not just loud, it's also live. It's great to have Alexandra on the grid. So she's also in the Pro-Am category. And the first lady, the first female racing driver ever for us here in the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. She's doing very good. She's actually improving like weekend by weekend. So that's really not my surprise, but it's really a great achievement. Mike Mims is joining us from the United States of America because he's Bulgarian, but he's living in the States. So he's a perfect example for our Masters category. I was just talking about the Masters category before. Those are the guys, you know, who don't have that much of an experience, but they're so much into race cars, into racing. And it's also the only category where we do allow them to use ABS and traction control. Like also Peter Brecker here is coming from Central Eastern Europe, so from the Czech Republic. So he's joining us from our Sprint Challenge program in Europe. So definitely good to have teams from all over the place.
A very international series. Thank you very much, Robert. We will have the chance to chat a little bit before the race this evening. You already mentioned it. It's a night race and you can be really excited about that. But now it's time for qualifying and it's time for your commentator, and this is Scott Woodwis. Welcome to the family and enjoy the show.
Hi, hello, sound check.
Hey guys, are we ready?
6 rounds.
12 races.
Tough competition.
Real racing.
From Bahrain to Saudi Arabia.
Iconic tracks.
And breathtaking destinations.
This is the second season.
This is
The Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East.
we're ready to go.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everybody, and wherever you might be around the world. And hello to everyone who's watching here at the circuit at the venue at Dubai Autodrome. Welcome to the third event of the season for the 2024-25 Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East Championship, the second season under its Carrera Cup guise. And of course, as we mentioned, the exciting occasion tonight, the first ever night race being held in this championship at this circuit. It's going to be quite an amazing spectacle. We have had night races back at Bahrain. Now we get the chance to see how these Porsche Cup cars perform under the lights here at one of the two premier circuits in Abu Dhabi. Well, hello everybody, Scott Woodward's here to guide you through all of the action. Yes, it's my first time here commentating on Porsches. I've been very welcomed by everyone that's been involved in this venue and in this championship, so thank you very much to everyone so far. And we are getting set then for qualifying here this afternoon. There's me in the commentary box. And we're getting set to get racing. It's been quite a competitive championship so far. Janis Stejak has been the man who's been informed. 3 victories in the first 4 races. He's looking to try and keep up that streak and emulate his teammate from last year, Theo Overhaus, who was not only champion, but has now gone on to become a 2025 Porsche Junior driver. We have a few Porsche Junior drivers that are in this championship too. As the cars are getting set in pit lane, you can see ready to go. And as they mentioned down in the pit lane, both Eric and Robert, a very international field. We've got drivers who have got experience pretty much in the vast majority of Carrera Cup championships that exist around the world, not just in Europe, but of course in North America, in Asia, and of course in the Middle East too. And it is quite an impressive stack of championships that they have managed to put together, because not only do we have Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East, we also have championships in Asia, Australia, Benelux, which covers the regions of Belgium and Netherlands. It has Brazil, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, Japan, Scandinavia, and North America. And there are drivers here who've pretty much got the scope of just about every one of those championships. And it's great to have such an international field in the mix. There's the man who currently leads the standings, Janis Stejak from Germany. 3 wins out of 4 so far. And currently has only been beaten in qualifying once in terms of grid starting spots. He started on pole 3 for the 4 races. And he'll be hoping to try and keep up that fine form. He was quickest in practice earlier on this morning. And he will want to try and improve as best he can. Very young driver, just 17 years old. And he became the youngest ever winner in Carrera Cup Deutschland history when he took his first win in the championship last season at the Saxon Ring. So he'll be looking to try and improve and take more fine results to try and emulate his teammate from last year. 2 cars to watch for in the field in the Pro-Am class are the 2 Saudi racing machines, Saud Al Saud and Khaled Al Ahmadi. Both of them have been very impressive throughout the season. And this Saudi racing team bringing 2 fine talents from Saudi Arabia. They really are managing to bring some great local talent through from the Gulf region into this championship, and it is a wonderful mix of international drivers and local talent. They get the chance to pit themselves against each other. And being, of course, deep into the heart of the Gulf racing season, when it exists from pretty much around about October, November time, around to the following year's March time, it's a great chance for drivers that mainly race in the West, in those Western championships, to come across, keep themselves fresh, keep themselves in the mix, and experience some great competition in cars such as these, the Porsche 992 Cup cars. Right, about 500 brake horsepower. The best way I heard them described was by Martin Haven back at Bahrain, when he simply said that you've got to mix essentially aggression with finesse with these cars in order to get the most out of them, and that's certainly going to be impressive. Speaking of impressive, we've got Soren Spreng on the grid this weekend. We're looking at him on screen in car number 5. Very impressive, striking blue and yellow livery. He was last year's Porsche Carrera Cup Deutschland Pro-Am champion. Very experienced hand himself. And he currently comes into the weekend looking to hope and improve on more results that he's had throughout the season. If you look at where he's been so far this year, Soren Spreng, his results so far in terms of finished positions, has had a couple of DNS, but he has also picked up a best result of 8th back at Bahrain. Always qualified in the top 10, so he'll hope to try and improve on his best starting spot of 7th, and that was back at race 2 in Qatar. So with qualifying sessions this weekend, unlike the weekends that we had with supporting the FIA World Endurance Championship at Bahrain and in Qatar for the Formula 1 World Championship, where there was one session where the fastest and second fastest times set the grids for race 1 and 2 respectively. Here it's different. We have the time to do 2 individual qualifying sessions. So this session will set the grid for race 1 later on this evening. Tomorrow's qualifying session will set the grid for tomorrow afternoon's second race. Another driver to keep an eye on is going to be Angus Whiteside, one of 2 drivers that have come across from Porsche Carrera Cup GB. He is also a Pro-Am champion in Porsche Carrera Cup GB, very fast driver. Had a quite almost meteoric rise in motorsport. Only started racing cars back in 2021 in the Ginetta GT Academy, was rookie champion that year, but since 2022 it's all been Porsche in the Carrera Cup GB, getting stronger and stronger, some great performances, and it's his first time this season racing outside of the UK, so he's testing himself on international circuits, and certainly we'll be hoping to try and push himself forwards to maybe even some more continental running in 2025 if possible. So fine driving from Angus, great to have him in the championship, and again strengthening that international flavour that Carrera Cup Middle East is attracting, was also with the teams on top of it too. Krista Andero from Sweden is also on the grid here this weekend as well. He's been a regular in this championship, racing for a very experienced team, and this is something else to point out as well. Proton Huber Competition, who know all about running successful teams in Porsches, and they certainly lended their expertise to 2 cars on the grid this weekend, one of which is Angus Whiteside, the other being here his teammate Krista Andero from Sweden. He's in the Masters category. As you said, Krista, a long-time Porsche racer, first started racing any kind of Porsches back in the Modsport 2 Sweden Championship at a Boxster, then moved up to Swedish GTs in a 997 in 2017, and then he has competed in Carrera Cup for 4 seasons from 2018 to 2021, and then raced Sprint Challenge Scandinavia from 22 to 24, and has also competed a couple of times before. It's not his first time in the Middle East. He has also raced in what was then known as the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Middle East back in the 2019-2020 season. It's great to have the Swede back on the grid here in the Porsches too. So he's part of the Masters category for this season. The Masters category, quite simply, is for drivers aged 40 and over. The one stipulation is that they cannot have ever held an International B or an International A licence issued by the FIA. So it simply prevents any ex-Grand Prix drivers or fast ex-sports car racers from a long time to come in the championship and dominate. It's more for the enthusiast, the gentleman driver, and those that want to kind of really experience Porsche racing at its finest, whilst worrying about some of the competition being too quick for them being out of reach. Another driver to watch out for in the pro ranks, James Wallace, the second of the 2 British drivers. He's also come across from Porsche Carrera Cup GB. He is the official Porsche Junior driver from GB, and it's the Porsche Junior GB car that's here in the mix. He's had quite a meteoric rise, or quick rise, through the ranks in motorsport. Started out racing in Citroën Saxos and then moved up to the BRSCC Fiesta Junior Championship, was 3rd in that championship in 2021. And ever since then he's been moving up the ranks, testing his skills in GT3 and GT4 machinery, but now in the last couple of seasons has been able to really get himself involved in the Porsche family, and he has been racing in Porsche Carrera Cup GB, and I think there's also plans for him to move into 1 or 2 European series this season as well. So the weather conditions relatively clear, a little bit of cloud in the air, but it's still relatively warm out there this evening or this afternoon, about 22 degrees, 50% humidity, a little bit of wind in the air as well, as they were detailing down in the pit lane. And it's all in this wonderful setting of the Dubai Autodrome. It's pretty much been the beating heart of motorsport in the Gulf in this part of Dubai, and it's hosted so many races, including 24-hour races. It's hosted so many different sports car championships and amazing events up and down motorsport. And of course now it continues to go from strength to strength and be involved in some very fine championships all the way throughout motorsport in this region and around the world. Of course, if those watching in motorsport circles would have seen that the Dubai 24 Hours took place last weekend, and there are a couple of drivers who have regulated in this championship who have also got experience of racing there. We're actually racing here in Dubai last weekend, so it's good to see they're getting pretty multinational and pretty multi-categorical when it comes to racing in that sense. So there's the current reading of temperature, 22.3 degrees by 53% humidity. Track temperature about 24.5, 25 degrees. So it's going to get it pretty close in terms of how they're going to work it. It's a circuit that is both mix of front and rear limited. You've got some very fast corners here that are going to test the front end tyres, but also 1 or 2 big braking zones with slow corners. That's going to mean that the getting traction out of those corners is going to be key, and using up the tyres as much as little as possible to make sure that you can get yourself on an optimal lap and not burn them up too quickly. They've only got 2 sets of tyres left for this weekend, which means they have to be very careful how they use them in the qualifying sessions, and then try and use the best set possible in order to then move forward into the race. So you've got to basically carry 2 sets of tyres all the way through the free practice session, both qualifying sessions this weekend, and then both races. So it's going to be really key for time management on a circuit like this. Tell us more about the championship, quite officially. I've been joined by the main man himself, Robert Lechner. Robert, great to have you alongside me here. And as I was pointing out, we've got 8 different nationalities, vast experience of drivers from just about almost the entire spectrum of Carrera Cup championships. It's a wonderful mix of drivers on the field you've got here this weekend in Dubai.
Yeah, hello Scott. Thanks for helping out, and welcome everyone here for round 3 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East at Dubai Autodrome. We're super happy and super excited to be back with the championship. Thanks to everyone here locally from Al Nabuda, from Porsche Middle East and Africa for helping to set up this great event. It's good to see so many families, friends, kids enjoying the Porsche cars. And soon we start qualifying. So basically time is already running. I wish best of luck to all the drivers, to all the teams. And qualifying is super important because later on we go racing, our first night race here today evening, and grid positions are ever so important.
And there's something about night racing that just spices up motorsport in general just a little bit more. I've always found it so super attractive to watch night racing. There's a different element to it when you reduce the visibility in terms of how it looks and having to rely on just the whole spectacle of it. I've seen some circuits that seem to have a different aura about them when you go night racing, and so I always think that it's fascinating to watch the championship when they race under the lights because there's just something a bit more special about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in a racing environment. Lucky enough, my dad was a Le Mans racer for Porsche in the 962 Group C car, together with my brother Walter Jr. I can see him here in the pit line talking to some of the drivers. So definitely long distance racing or night racing or any session in the night time is super difficult, not just because of visibility. Basically, things appear a little bit quicker. So I spoke to some of the drivers like Alexandra, our one and only female racing driver on the grid. And it was her first ever experience yesterday. And she said, it's super fast. The track is so fast compared to like day visibility. And it's getting loud now. First cars on track.
It is. We're starting to get our first drivers creeping out of the pits to try and set their first couple of lap times to set the grid for tonight's night race here at Dubai Autodrome. Seeing Mike Mim here just being strapped in and getting a few instructions from his team. Born in Bulgaria, does a lot of his racing over in North America, both in sprint and some of the endurance racing that he does, and taking a couple of podiums there, so he's performed pretty strongly. Great to have him on the grid as well. And of course, fellow Bulgarian alongside Alexandra as well. It's good to see we've got 2 of the, again, European talents on the grid in the mix there too. So first mover out of the pits is the Peter Brecker number 85 Porsche. So that's the GT Sports Technology machine, runs in the Masters category. And he's going out for his first exploratory lap in the session to see how the track conditions are. We've had a couple of sessions from some of the customers and friends and partners from Porsche Middle East taking their Porsche road cars and performance cars out on track the last few sessions. So we've had a free practice session earlier on this morning. So those sort of sessions will have helped to rubber in the circuit a little bit more, clear it up a little bit more for some of the dust that might be around. You can see plenty of dust and rubber that's been laid down. So I expect that lap times in this session, particularly as it gets a little bit cooler as we go into the night, should help to make some pretty quick times compared to what we had in free practice earlier on, Rob. Absolutely,
Scott. So I totally agree. And I was already welcoming like all our friends and let's say families out there, but definitely a big shout out to all the beautiful cars, you know. You can really say it's cars and friends here today at Dubai Autodrome. So many beautiful cars having been out for the track session today. And I think this is what it's so important about such a Carrera Cup weekend, that we from the Lechner Racing side, together with the teams, like we have GP Elite here from the Netherlands, Proton Huber Racing from Germany. Soon we will be joined by more other teams. We are so proud to have our Kingdom of Saudi Arabia team here as well. So this is like club racing, but in a very professional way, and combined on such an event or on such a weekend. It's really cool to hear. Also for the kids, it's really cool to hear this engine sound. I mean, the flat 6 engine, I'm loving it.
I think someone said to me yesterday that I'd get tired of hearing this engine. Never. It's genuine for me, not because I'm here for Porsche. It's genuine one of the best sounding race cars in the world. A racing flat six like this, it's no wonder that even the GT3 spec, even the old GTE cars or even the Cup cars, just something about that sort of really sort of rough, that fantastically sort of throaty sounding flat six in these cars that just absolutely brings the emotions out. And you're right in terms of the atmosphere. There was plenty of people around today. If you actually here at the venue, do take a look around the paddock. You've got plenty to see. There's Porsche XR, there's an esports section, there's also plenty to see in terms of plenty of Porsches parked around, plenty of customers and people who are Porsche owners coming here. There were 911s as far as I could see in some of the car parks. So great to see you've got so many supporters here for this weekend to see this championship. So Peter Brecker then is the first one to try and lay down a marker, and he will set the benchmark time that everyone has to try and aim for. And just to give an idea, just in terms of the times earlier on from practice, people would have been on different run plans using different tyre sets. So you can't read too much at times into practice, but for the record, it was Janis Stiak who was fastest with a 2-minute 1.072, and he was 0.8 quicker than Saud Al Saud in the Saudi Racing Porsche. He was top of the Pro-Am class as well in second fastest. Angus Whiteside was third, ahead of Caleb Sumich. We should talk about him in a second. He's the Australian making his debut in this championship this weekend. And Khaled Al-Ahmadi rounding out the top 5. So Peter Brecker exploring his way through turn 9, this slightly banked turn 9. Exit here is pretty crucial to slingshot your way onto the long straight. You're going to reach speeds of around 250 k's down the back straight before you hit the braking zone. And then you're hard on the brakes here towards turn 10. This is one of those corners, Robert, where you talk about it being rear limited on some parts of the circuit. Absolutely crucial to nail the braking zone, but also get the exit key to minimize the wheel spin, to use all the grip you've got around you, because wheel spinning and getting the wrong line off here is only going to chew up the rear tyres and means that you're going to be losing grip and losing optimal performance to get the best lap in this session, only with at least 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, you've said it very correctly. I mean, for Peter now, he's a super nice guy from the Czech Republic. It's his first time here that he's joining us for a full season in the Middle East. He unfortunately had a big shunt at Qatar. We are just basically at the previous round number 2 was together with Formula 1 at the Qatar Airways Grand Prix. And he had a huge shunt, so it's great to see him, his team, so big effort to his team that they were coming back, bringing a car from the Czech Republic. So everyone at GT Sports Technology, big thank you, as you say, Čakujem, I think it's the word in Czech. So great to see him, his effort, bringing a brand new car back to be on the grid here for the doubleheader at Dubai Autodrome.
So across the line comes Peter Brecker, sets the initial benchmark, and it is 2 minutes 5.999. That's the time that everyone's got to initially try and beat. So a solid first effort for Peter. We'll see what he can improve on that in his second one. As the car nosedives under braking towards turn 1. You're braking for about 250 k's and just holding it through in third gear. Grab another gear as you go through turn 2 in the apex. Into this sweeping section. This is the more front limited section here, where the tyres, front tyres will take a bit more punishment through 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then you get towards this very long double apex right-hander of 6 and 7. And then take a late apex, you come towards the end of here, and back towards that kind of section of 8 and 9. A few more movers out of pit lane. There's a small lock up there for Saud Al Saud into turn 1. Runs a little deep and misses the apex, but he's now out to try and set a time. Also out there too has gone Mike Mim, the Bulgarian, second of our Masters drivers. So now that Peter Brecker has now laid down the gauntlet for everybody else, now drivers starting to think, right, now I've got a time to aim for. Now let's see if we can try and beat that. The second of the Saudi cars out in the race as well. So first few drivers have seen what Peter can do now. Now they think, right, now it's my turn to see if I can lay down a good time.
Yes, and now we see the car of Mike Mim. So a very beautiful car. I really like his design. His car stands out. So also for him, it's the first time he's joining us in the Middle East, same as Peter Brecker and Krista Andero as well. So those are the guys competing in our Masters category. So we have 3 different categories in the championship. I'm not sure if you said it before because I was joining a bit later.
Yep.
But definitely the Masters category for all the drivers that basically don't have that kind of professional background joining us from a Porsche Super Cup or any national Carrera Cup. So those are the only guys. For example, Banksy, a new friend from Japan. He's been part of the championship from the beginning on. He's also a participant, a contender in the Masters category. So those are the only drivers that are allowed to use ABS and traction control. while in Pro and in Pro-Am category, there's no ABS, there's no traction control. So very similar to a Porsche Super Cup, a Carrera Cup in Germany, in Great Britain, or anywhere else.
And that's what makes this championship so accessible here in the Middle East. Not only is it a great chance for those Western drivers to come across and keep their hand and keep racing and be part of this great championship, but it means then the car that they're racing is exactly the same as you'd find in the UK, in Germany, in the other championships, Scandinavia, Italy, France, Brazil, Australia. It's exactly the same car. That's the reason why it's such a successful category, being Porsche Carrera Cup. And the fact that this championship, which has existed in one way or another since 2009 when it first started, it's great to see that it's now got to the point where it has earned itself the Carrera Cup name in its second season. I think justified, because it has been a fantastic long-standing championship and brought in great drivers, such as we just saw briefly there, Alexandra Vateva. I had a chat with her last night, as well as you did as well too.
You were on the same table, so
yes, I was.
We were
yeah.
basically sharing dinner together, and soon Alexandra will hit the track with 12 minutes to go into this qualifying session.
Yeah, she's been a really good performance at Qatar looking last time out. She got a really good performance, particularly in the second fastest time she set in qualifying to put herself 6th on the grid and put herself a really strong finish at the second race in Qatar, which put her in 5th. So she scored an overall top 5 and was on the podium both times in the Pro-Am category. So a really good effort from her so far. We'll see if she can improve on that here. Here's Banksy, although those watching for the UK might not to be confused with a mysterious artist also named Banksy. But in terms of this context, regular in Porsche Carrera Cup Japan. There's a couple of quite well-renowned mentors to help him out this weekend too. Small lock-up from somebody there as they come towards the complex of 6 and 7. But now the track getting a little busier now, starting to get a few more cars out there for traffic. Soren Spreng in the number 5 machine just taking his time a little bit there. Oh. So, in terms of time so far, I think there's a small glitch with the timing screens at the moment in this point in time. So we'll have a look at that in a second. But the first initial times, they're going to start to come in for laps now. I think because the only person to set a time so far is Peter Brecker. The rest are only on their out laps at the moment. So we'll see their lap times coming, and that should populate the screen in a second. So we're only seeing Peter Brecker having set that one time so far. So pretty much everyone else is out on track now. So we've got all of our competitors for this weekend out there laying down times. And in terms of times, at the moment, it's still the only time on the board is 2 minutes 3.653 now. It's an improvement for Peter Brecker. Now the times start to come through. Sound puts an initial benchmark down of 2:11.256, but we know he can go quicker. So we'll wait and see how his effort goes. And as a optimal benchmark, looking back at the lap record from last year, the lap record set for this championship was set by last year's champion, Theo Overhouse. He managed to pick up, go sub 2 minutes, 1 minute 59.864, so an incredibly impressive pace that can be set, as Mike Mim goes second fastest into the 2 minute 10s. So first couple of drivers now come out onto the track, start to lay down some initial benchmarks, get their baseline down, then they'll start to get the teams, the tyres, start to get in some more quicker lap times as the session goes on.
Absolutely. We see Saud Al-Saud in the number 3 car for his team Saudi Racing, and on the screen he's P4 right now, but still he's on his first fast or first flying lap. We've seen Angus Whiteside before, and the beautiful purple car for his team Proton Huber Racing. He's a Pro-Am champion in Great Britain. That's cool because Soren Spreng is a Pro-Am champion in the German Carrera Cup. So we're glad to have them here in the championship with us in the Middle East. So that's the car of Soren Spreng, the blue car that was in the foreground.
And just the car behind him there was the Porsche of Stanislav Minsky, who I think was here last weekend competing in the Dubai 24 Hours. So he's got he's got 24 hours worth of experience on this track over the last few days. So it's good to see he's getting up there too. Saud Al-Saud looks as though he's on course at the moment to set the fastest time of the session because he's gone purple in sectors 1 and 2. He's up by over a second. So as we watch his teammate, Khaled Al-Ahmadi, who's currently 4th fastest, Janusz Stigap puts in his first banker lap, but then you can't really count it too much because it's a 2 minutes 26. He's got to really get up there. Should talk about, whilst we keep on looking at Khaled Al-Ahmadi here, but we're keeping an eye on the time at the bottom of the screen of Saud Al-Saud. And I wonder if our directors can pick him up a little bit. I wanted to have a chat about our Australian driver that's debuting this weekend, as Saud Al Saud does go to the top of the times. Now he's onto a 2 minutes 2.285. So Saud Al Saud fastest in the session already, but of course we've still got plenty of time now, 8 minutes to go until we see some of our more quicker drivers. We still haven't seen the likes of Janis Stiak, James Wallace, Angus Whiteside put a proper lap in, still waiting for Alexander Vateva as well, and Soren Spreng. They've all got to lay down some proper fast lap times here, and we'll see if any of them can get up there. Mike Mim goes to third quickest on a 2 minutes 3.9. Across the line goes Khaled Al Ahmadi, he goes fastest, so it's now an all provisionally Saudi racing front row of Al Ahmadi on a 2 minute 1.931. So the driver's starting to break into the 2 minute ones. They're getting close to that point of minimal 2 minutes. Drivers starting to find their groove now, Rob. Starting to find their groove in terms of the pace here.
Yeah, Khaled, he was previously a GT4 champion for us in the Middle East, because years back there was still it was still called the Porsche Sprint Challenge Middle East. And Saud, his teammate, he's a former rookie champion in the GT3 category. So those two locals, they became friends, they really are, and have been with us in the championship now for 3 seasons, or basically this is season number 3 in the GT3 car. And both of them did 1 season of GT4 racing, which was great too. So it's good to see them still here with us, and Paul Spooner running the team. Man with lots of experience, especially here in the region, in the Middle East. So working for the Ministry of Sport in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, it's good to see them here and doing well so far. Banksy in P3.
Definitely. Banksy using all of his track time from yesterday when he was learning this circuit to get out there. This is comfortably one of his better performances that he's had so far in terms of qualifying. If I look back at his qualifying results throughout the season, his best qualifying result to date has been 9th, and that was at race 1 in Qatar. So he's actually massively improved from where he was before. So certainly the number 66 car favouring the Dubai International Circuit this weekend so far. I don't think we're getting proper lap times yet, at least there hasn't been one set looking at the times they're setting. They're probably just backing off trying to find an optimal line or finding traffic. But the likes of Janis Stiak and Caleb Sumich and James Wallace and Angus Whiteside, they've only got 6 minutes to go to get a proper lap in, but they're still, their own current fastest lap time is in the 2:20. So that's something they have to work out, particularly looking at traffic, unless they're trying to lay down a couple of banker laps, get some more rubber onto the circuit, and then go a bit quicker. It's still Khaled Al Ahmadi who goes a little faster, goes to a 2 minutes 1.573 to continue being fastest ahead of his teammate Saud Al Saud by 4. By now, it's 4 tenths per second, because last lap time, it says his last lap time was a 2 minute 1.
Last lap time has been deleted because
track limits
just turned white again. So
yeah, I did think that. Look, his last lap time did show it was a 2 minute 1.5, but then there has been a track. Looks like because of track limits, he has had that time deleted. Soren Spreng's gone to third fastest. So Soren Spreng now goes to a 2 minutes 2.489. That puts him on the second row provisionally ahead of alongside Banksy.
And let's try to stay with the yellow car. I've just seen the car of Janis Stiak before, the championship leader, because he's put in the fastest sector, or the yellow car. Here it is, thanks to the production team, thanks to all the camera people out there, everyone in the track. Big shout out. Great to have you here again. And yes, let's see what Jana is doing.
So Jana then heading his way through the end of a lap. He is up by some 6 tenths per second, and you're absolutely right. He's gone purple in sectors 1 and 2. The purple sectors simply mean you are going faster than anybody else in the session so far. So we set the fastest first and second sectors. This looks as though, unless there is a little mishap here in the final corner, this is Janis Stiak, championship leader. I would highly doubt it. Clean and tidy out of turn 16, heads towards the line. How much is he going to take provisional pole by? Oh, 1.5 seconds, that's the answer. 2 minutes, 0.343. And I have to say, in terms of lap time, you compare that to the lap record. That's only half a second off a lap record in this championship. So prime effort from the championship leader. He goes fastest. James Wallace also joins him up on the provisional front row. He now goes to second fastest on a 2 minute 1.183. And as you watch Saud Al Saud, he's just gone to third place ahead of his teammate Khaled Al Ahmadi. He's now gone to third fastest. And Angus Whiteside now has popped up into 4th. So good efforts from all of them involved. So they're now moving up, and Ahmadi, who was fastest, has been shuffled from the top spot down to 5th.
I'm sure Jan is trying to put in another fast lap, but we'll see once we see the first sector on live feed right now with Angus Whiteside. He's in P4 right now.
Yeah, look at this first sector, it's gone yellow, so he hasn't gone faster, at least in this sector. So he said this lap won't be quick unless he can find more time, enough time in the second and third sectors to go a bit quicker. Here is Angus Whiteside, 2024 Carrera Cup GB Pro-Am champion. And it's hard to believe this is only his 5th season of racing cars altogether. He started in another One Make Series and was rookie champion there. Then he was, from 2020 onwards, it's all been Porsches.
He's a big talent for sure. He's a tall guy, great guy, super personality.
Yeah.
Same applies for our second Brit, which is James Wallace, and the beautiful black machine. What is he doing? Is he improving?
He is personal best in sector 1, so looking good so far. He'll at the very least try and close the gap to Janusz Stiak.
It looks like he has a clear track, so there's no traffic ahead of him, so which is good.
Doesn't improve in sector 2, but he is still on a personal best in sector 1, so he might still get a little bit quicker. Gap between him and provisional pole for Janusz Stiak is over 8 tenths per second. That's about the gap there was between first and second fastest in practice earlier on, so that correlates to what the form we had earlier on this afternoon. There's only less than 2.5 minutes to go. So anyone that's trying to get a proper lap in is going to have to wait for it. One driver that's gone a little bit quicker, Alexandra Fateva, set a personal best for her time, and she's gone 8th fastest. She's only about a few hundredths away from Caleb Sumich from Australia, so she can find a bit more time in this on these final couple of laps. That could be a possibility to get even a little bit higher.
There's only 2 minutes left, Scott, so basically everyone who's crossing the line now will not manage to do an additional lap. So for most drivers out there, it will be the last lap that they will enter now once they pass start and finish. So because we are below the 2 minutes mark. So one more lap for everyone out there. Let's see if lap times are dropping. There's some improvement here around Caleb, I can see, the young man, our rookie from Australia.
He might mim.
Yeah, it looks like his lap was deleted, unfortunately, because he did a 2:01. So there must have been track limits because his lap would have put him P4 on the grid.
Just watching the lady race in the field, Alexandra Fateva. There she is, car 56. A couple of really good podium finishes last time out at Qatar.
Yeah, she really did a good job in Qatar. So it's not easy to drive this car, you know, the 911 GT3 Cup car with no ABS, no traction control, a lot of camber, a super stiff car to drive. Coming out of GT4 racing, collecting only a little experience in a GT3 Cup car before, but for the first time ever without ABS. So doing really well so far, and let's see if she can improve her lap time.
Definitely so. She's got a great driver coach in last year's Super Cup rookie champion Robert DeHaan as well, who's really been helping her out. Here's our Australian debutant of the championship, Caleb Sumich. Has done a bit of Porsche Sprint Challenge racing and Carrera Cup Australia racing. Got a top 10 last year at Surface Paradise. Good to have Caleb Sumich in the mix. He's got a really top engineer as well in PB down in the pit lane and just helping him out. So that they, in practice, didn't go quite as quick as they had, about half a second slower than they did in the sessions yesterday, but still find some good pace. Did have another set of tyres free to go, so he's done quite a good job. It looks as though he can't go any quicker on this lap, so he's now abandoning that and heading to the pit lane. So he'll start at best 7th quickest, unless anyone else can improve. Banksy's going quicker on this lap at the moment in car 66, the yellow and black machine. So our man from Japan is going quicker at the moment in sectors 2 and 3, and I think does improve, but stays 9th. So no mix in there. So checker flag is out on the session, and there's nobody else on a lap that's improving. So it looks as though it is a 4th pole from 5 races so far for Janusz Stiak, championship leader, and looks like he will start tonight's first ever Dubai Autodrome night race in Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East from the pole position once again. But he'll have James Wallace alongside him, as Angus Whiteside was a little too hard on the middle pedal there, trying to get that stopped. A little wide. Trying to improve, I think, on 3rd fastest, but he won't do it like that. So it looks like he'll stay in the 2nd row of the grid ahead of the 2 Saudi racing drivers in the top 5. So that looks like a pretty competitive top 5 so far for positions. And again, no one improving on these times, so pretty much this is how the grid is going to be set. And in terms of class poles, it is Janusz Stiak, who is not only on pro pole and overall pole, he's on the rookie pole on top of it as well, so he gets the hat trick. Saud Al Saud is on pro-am pole ahead of Khaled Al Akhmadi, Soren Spreng, and then Alexandra Fateva. And then for Masters, it's Banksy on pole from Peter Breckett and Mike Mim. But there's the man of the moment. It's hard to believe, just 17 years old, already a race winner in Carrera Cup Deutschland and Carrera Cup Italy. Took a win last year there too as well. And was in the fight in the championship with his teammate last year, Theo Overhaus. Just missed out on it, didn't win a race all season, and now he's kicked off the season with 3 wins from 4 races, 4 poles from 5 races. amazing record so far for this young
Amazing
talent.
record. I can see the family is very happy, and Janne ever so cool. He was the youngest driver who joined us here in the championship last year at the age of only 16 years.
It's crazy.
Still super young. James on the front row next to Janne, so the JJ, we have the two J's in the front row again. For sure now it's about analyzing. He's talking to his engineer, Michael Roos, so for sure now we'll analyze data. And having Angus with them. It's the 3 pro guys. Imagine if Caleb's lap would not have been cancelled because of track limits. All the pro guys, the pro-am guys, and the masters guys. So this is what I love about our championship, that the categories really do make sense. And thank you, Scott, for mentioning also the class pose. Really nice listening to everything you've said, and also the spirit. Can't wait for the race, really. So I will leave you alone for the race because I will be downstairs, so it's all yours.
Appreciate it.
But it was great to join for qualifying. And here we see South South with Paul Spooner, with his engineer Florian Janitz and the team. So yeah, good job, P4 overall. So again, puts him in the 2nd row. And his teammate Khaled Al-Ahmedi just like not much, like 2.5 tenths, yeah, behind him in P5. So good team effort for Team Saudi Racing once again.
Definitely so, and it's impressive to have our local team here like this performing so well against some of these top drivers and top teams that we have here. Teams like Proton Huber Competition, GP Elite, GT Sports Technology. These guys are taking the fight to them and showing that this is what the local talents, our local team and local drivers can do in the region at least. 2 Saudi drivers, ever developing, ever quick. I mean, last year we talked about Saad Al Saud as well. Quick note, I was doing some research. He was 3rd in Pro-Am last year and had a great record in terms of drives and what he did last year. He took 2 class wins, 6 podiums, 3 poles, and 2 fastest laps. So, in terms of class, he's certainly one of the drivers to beat. Both of the Saudi drivers are the ones to beat in Pro-Am so far this weekend. But the likes of Soren Spreng and Alexandra Fateva, if they have good fortunes in race 1 and luck goes their way, they can get in the mix and certainly get themselves in there for a podium. I'll be intrigued to see what Caleb Sumich can do from 7th, because I think giving his lap time, he was on set for a 2-minute 1.5 and then had that lap time deleted. So I think he's a bit out of position in P7. If he can get a good start and pick his way possibly through at least the Pro-Am guys and keep the top 3 in touch, he could be in with a chance of at least possibly a top 5, if not overall, if not a pro podium, if he can work his way through from where he is in 7th on the grid.
And the good news for Caleb, tomorrow we are doing it all over again. There's another qualifying for the 2nd race here at Dubai Autodrome, because when we are racing together with F1, for example, we can't do that. We can't have 2 qualifying sessions. But the beauty of this great event here, together with our partners Al Nabuda and Porsche Middle East and Africa, we have our own track. And here are the results, Scott. I leave you alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Pleasure. Thank you very much. So there's the results then from qualifying, which will set the grid for race 1 later on tonight. Janis Stiak, championship leader, takes his 4th pole from 5 races so far. He'll start from the front of the grid for the DHL team. And James Wallace, the Porsche Junior GB, starts alongside him, will be on the front row alongside him, 2nd fastest in the session. His fellow Brit Angus Whiteside, 3rd for Proton Huber Competition, ahead of the 2 Saudi racing drivers who will lock out the Pro-Am front row, Saud Al Saud ahead of Khaled Al Ahmadi. Soren Spreng, 3rd in Pro-Am, so that will start 6th overall, ahead of the Australian debutant of the championship, Caleb Sumich. He will start in 7th place alongside Alexandra Fateva. Good effort from her to get in the top 10 once more. She will start 8th. Row 5 is where you find the rest of our Masters runners, with pole taken by Banksy from Japan. Then Petter Brecker rounds out the top 10 ahead of Mike Mim for 11th place. He's the current points leader going into this weekend in the Masters category. Then Krista Andero for Proton Huber Competition, and Stanislav Minsky will round out our runners for race 1 coming up later on this evening. So the stage is set then. What's set to be a very entertaining first ever night race at the Dubai Autodrome for Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East. Not the first night race full stop. We had one a couple of times. We had one at least at Bahrain at the beginning of the season when the championship was supporting the World Endurance Championship at Bahrain at their final round towards the end of last year. But we get to go racing under the lights here at the Autodrome, and that's going to be quite a spectacle. So do make sure that you come and tune in for that in a few hours' time. That will take place at around about 8:30 local time. So wherever you are in the world, work that out on your time difference. Be sure to join us in roughly around about 3 hours time or so to get the 3rd event of the season for the 2024-25 Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East Championship underway. We're, of course, reaching incredibly the halfway point of the championship. We've been to Bahrain supporting the World Endurance Championship. We've also been to Qatar supporting F1. We're here, of course, for a UAE double-header with the Dubai Autodrome, followed by the Yas Marina circuit. That's home, of course, of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. That will be next weekend. And then there's a little bit of a break before we then go into the start of a new Formula One season, where this championship will go ahead and support 2 more F1 events. Very privileged for the championship to do so. And that will be again back at Bahrain, and then it will be at the Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia, where by then, if we haven't already, we will crown our second ever set of Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East champions within class and, of course, overall as well. So, excellent stuff from the drivers out there. They now know what's up, they're up against them ahead of the race later on this evening. So, we're getting set then for preparations before the race later on this evening. So for those of you tuning in, we're going to leave you with some highlights of the session to see how that all went down if you missed any of the action. But as we leave you here and get set for race 1 later on in a few hours' time, it is championship leader Janusz Stiak who takes his 4th pole from 5 races so far. He will start from the front of the grid for race 1 of the weekend under the lights at the Dubai Autodrome. So from myself, Scott Woodward, and all of us here at the Autodrome, if you're here watching around the circuit, do stick around and be sure to be in place to watch that race at 8:30 local time. But from all of us here so far, thanks for watching, thanks for being here, and we'll see you for race 1 here in Dubai very shortly in a few hours' time. Bye for now.
Hi, hello, sound check. Hey guys, are we ready?
Six rounds.
12 races.
Tough competition.
Real racing.
From Bahrain to Saudi Arabia.
Iconic tracks.
and breathtaking destinations.
This is the second season.
This is
The Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East.
we're ready to go.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.